about the game that Watson and Fuller played today, and did you plan to go that much, or was that all options that Watson had on those touchdown plays?
Well, some of it is options, some of it is call plays. They both played a tremendous game. Yardage-wise, I mean, Fuller, 170 yards, but 6 catches or something like that. And then Deshaun, out of 25 attempts, he was, 19 or 25 or something. I'm not exactly sure, but he was right on. And then, his running ability also got us out of trouble sometimes. And so it was good to see that. And it's also good to see in the first half, the defense got some turnovers, and I think that helped in the game. And then in the second half, I think that we played a more consistent game in the second half overall, and that allowed us to win.
Hey, Romeo, could you talk about the flea flicker that you pulled off with Duke Johnson and Watson and Fuller, and also what's that play called?
Well, I don't know the name of the play. He just told me that he was wanted to run a flea flicker, and I said, okay, let's go with it. And so he made the call, and then we executed the play.
Mark Berman.
Romeo, a couple questions. One, you talk about J.J. Watt's pick 6 and how that helped set the tone for the game.
Well, you know what? We talked about turnovers during the week, and I mentioned that they come in streaks sometimes, and we talked about how J.J. used to be able to tip the ball, intercept it, and run it in for a touchdown, and then, lo and behold, he does it early in the game, and put us up, got points on the board, and so we felt good about that, and I think that gave the defense a lift, and it gave the whole team a lift to see him make a play like that, and so that was good.
Jim Nantz and Tony Romo talked during the game about when they were discussing with you getting this opportunity, be the interim, that you got emotional thinking this sort of thing had kind of passed you by. Can you talk about your emotions and how you've been emotional about being in this position now at your age?
Well, it's not necessarily at my age that makes a difference. The opportunity came along and I decided to take the job. And I did it for the players in that locker room because I've been with most of them for 6 years. And I know sometimes with the coaching change, what can happen to a team. So I didn't want that to happen to this team. And so the guys respect me. They work for me. They do a good job. They listen. And so we're able to win, a couple games. And now we got the next month of the season to try to show more about who we are, how hard we play, how tough we are, and those kind of things.
Aaron Wilson.
Hey, Romeo, happy Thanksgiving. Romeo, when you talk about complimentary football, is that something that you feel like the defense has taken to heart more just lately in terms of being able to create turnovers, make plays like the one JJ made today?
Well, you know what? I mean, it turns out to be complimentary football, but I think that the guys are just playing defense. And he's doing what he's been coached to do, what he's done in the past, and he's got a big frame, and it's hard to throw over him. And so when you try it, he just jumped up, boom, knocked the ball down and caught it, and then turned and runs it in for a touchdown, And so having the ability to do all of those things is definitely a plus.
And what did you think of Terrell Adams and also Zach Cunningham, the kind of range and tackling you saw from them today?
Well, our inside linebackers, they have done and will continue to do a good job in the running game and in the passing game. I know Zach has made many tackles. TA has stepped in the job that he has to do, and I think he had 17 tackles today, which is tremendous, really, and I have to give credit to those guys up front because anytime linebackers are able to make plays, those guys up front generally are playing the double teams and keeping guys off of them so that they can run to the ball. And that's one of the things that we talk about our defense is that those guys in the middle, they have to be grinders to allow the linebackers to run. And so when TA makes 17 tackles, he appreciates the fact that he's able to do that, but also he appreciates those guys in front of him.
Christy Rican.
Romeo, how do you feel about how your team is playing overall lately, being able to win 2 games in a row for the first time this year and having won 3 or 4 under you?
Well, that's good, but we haven't won enough, and so as a coach, you always think about, many times I think about the negative rather than the positive, and so in thinking about the negative, there are things we can do better, and we need to do better if we're going to be strong in the last month of the season.
You kind of touched on this, but could you talk a little bit more about Deshaun and how well he's been playing for you, having so many games in a row with no interceptions and throwing multiple touchdown passes in most of those games?
Well, here again, Deshaun is a tremendous athlete, good leader, got good weapons that he can use at whenever he chooses to, and he spreads the ball around many times. And then you got to give some credit to the guys up front. Here again, those guys, if they give him time, he's able to make plays. Guys can get open and he can hit them. He has that kind of accuracy. And so overall, he does a great job because of his ability and his leadership, but with the help of those guys up front, with the help of those receivers and tight ends and running backs, and it all kind of goes hand in hand. It's a team thing.
Aaron Reese.
Hey, Romeo. At the trade deadline, you were pretty honest about saying you didn't want to see a lot of these guys go, and you thought this team could win some games. I'm wondering, I know you talk about looking 1 week at a time, but did you see the schedule and think this team had the talent to go on a little bit more of a run as the schedule softened up? And if that is what happens here in the second half of the season, what sort of positive is that for this team moving forward into next year?
Well, it's a tremendous positive. If we can win in this last month and then come back from the start of the season, because it's hard to come back in this league just in a game. It's hard to come back in a game, but then it's difficult to come back in the season as well when you start 0-4, and playoff implications, season implications, attitude implications, all of those things are factored in. And for these guys to hang in there and keep fighting, they should be complimented for doing that.
And last question for John McLean.
Romeo, we asked you this last week, but in light of the offensive performance, I want to ask you again about Tim Kelly. You said you've seen growth in him. What did you think about the game he called today and the results you got?
Well, I thought it was a good game that he called, when I know JJ presented some points to him, but, 41 points in a game, that's good at this level. And so we feel good about what he's doing, and we feel good about what Weaver's doing. And, and then the special teams coach, Tracy, he does a good job also, So I got 3 coordinators that I depend on and count on, and I think that they're doing a good job.
Great. Thank you so much, Romeo.
All right.